flyers, because I know that because you care, you want to take these home, and please read through them. You'll have the information about me personally, and then some of the questions that have been raised by my opponents within the Republican Party. And as Ronald Reagan's rule, 11th commandment was that we shall not speak ill of a fellow Republican. Well, I will not speak ill of any of them, but I do want to answer and address those questions. So please take those to read. Let's see. We had some really good questions by the Tea Party, and let me tell you, Tea Party people, you're top. Now, I love these questions because those are questions that a lot of us that do can go home and we question and we ponder and we talk at the kitchen table to our family, to our friends, and frankly, I'm up for the challenge. So I'll get right down to the point, and then we can, if you have anybody has questions about me personally, I'd be happy to answer those for you. Now, the first one that I'm going to address is immigration reform, and it is a hot topic for Democrats. Now, I'll address it, but I would just say, look at me first of all. The Democrats have had a monopoly on immigration reform, on border security, because they have been playing the part of the party who understands the minority, the party that has the best interests of the minority at hand. And Republicans have always had a difficult challenge because the Democrats like to paint the Republican Party as the party of older, rich, white males. And while that may be the case, we're also the party of women and minorities, and people who come to this country looking for opportunity, and people who are entrepreneurs. And I feel that that's where I am. The color of my skin, where I came from, has nothing to do with my party. It's just who I am. It is something that I feel inside, which are the conservative values that Republicans carry. And we wonder why Solomon Ortiz has had a grasp on the district, on the people of the district, term after term after term. And the reason he's had that is because he's played exactly that Democrat mentality, that he's for the minority. He's the one that speaks Spanish. Well, I have news for him, and I have news for anybody who doesn't know. I speak Spanish. I am a minority, and I understand the people of South Texas. If there's any candidate here that will speak in front of you, I can guarantee you that none of them understand this issue as much as I do. It is definitely deep in my heart, and I know that that is something that we can fix. Why do we need to fix it? Not just because we need immigration reform, because the process is lengthy. It took me 25 years to go through paperwork, ladies and gentlemen. I had lost my paperwork 2 times. I took it over 3 states, and I finally received my paperwork at the age of 28. Now, at 28, I was already out of Texas, and so I never had a chance to vote in the district. But let me tell you, I voted in my heart. And when I did get the chance to finally vote, I did always vote Republican. Now, it is important to understand the immigration issues at hand. Now, what we want to do is we want to strengthen this district. We want to strengthen the Republican Party. And the way to do that is to reach out to individuals who are in the same process, who are not illegals necessarily, but who are people who are in a residency status. Because those are the people that we need to understand, we need to sympathize with, because those are the people that we want to bring into the fold, because at some point they will be citizens and they will be voters. And we cannot continue to let them be fooled by liberal Democrats to think that they belong on that side. They're just like you and I, they're conservatives. They have strong family values, and it's important that we reach out to them. And unfortunately, that's just something that some people in the Republican Party don't understand how important that truly is. As far as what is our greatest security concern, well, we have 2 concerns. And I think that the first one is the one we've been conditioned to easily understand, and that's terrorism, crimes that spills over our borders, crime that spills over our borders, drug trafficking, etc., etc. And those are things that we do need to protect ourselves from. But right now, what I feel is the greatest threat in our nation is actually coming from within. It's coming from Congress, and it's coming from our administration. Because we can easily deploy troops somewhere, we can put the Border Patrol somewhere, we can employ more police officers, but the fact is that there is nothing that we have right now except our voice and our vote to go up to Congress and change that. We can't send police up to Congress. We can't put the Border Patrol or the militias to try to knock them out of there. So what is the biggest threat? It's Congress right now. They are taking our liberties. They are taxing us to death. They're taxing our children to death. And it's something that is going to be very difficult to get out of. And I'm glad that you all are here because, like me, you feel that that's something that needs to get done. And that's why the Tea Party is here. And that's why I was part of the Tea Party from the beginning. We cannot let them destroy the greatest country on earth. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. And so that is a security concern, whether you agree with me or not. For a lot of us, that's just the case. Now, Ronald Reagan, he is quoted as saying that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. And I think that a lot of us are feeling that right now. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream, and it must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. And I think that a lot of us are feeling that right now, where we're just seeing this great country slip away, not recognizable in a lot of different ways. Let's get down now to the boring parts, but important nonetheless. What is the role of the federal government in private business? I feel I am a true conservative and a capitalist, ladies and gentlemen. And I feel that there's no differentiation really between a small business owner and a big business owner. Business is business. And business is here to make the country strong, and it's here to drive a free market. And so when our administration says, well, we're going to tax big business but not small business, well, you know what? Where do you draw the line? So with that said, what is the government's role in business? Their role, they do have a role. And they have a role to make sure that they create certain standards that businesses have to meet. We certainly don't want a business to develop a product that is dangerous for a consumer. And so certainly they should be there to be a watchdog for businesses so that we don't have unscrupulous business popping up left and right, hurting us, our children, vehicles that are dangerous. So there is an importance there. The other importance that the federal government has is monitoring to making sure that businesses, big businesses, don't come in and monopolize and take over an industry because that prevents the free market and competition. Now the problem with that is that the government doesn't have anybody in oversight of it. So the government's really good at pointing the finger and saying, oh, you're monopolizing, we're going to break you up. Oh, you can't do that. You can't buy that business even though you've got the money to do it. But they themselves become a monopoly because no one's watching them. And that is unfair. And I feel that the federal government should be watched by someone, and not just by us as individuals, but there should be some sort of private industry that watches the government to make sure that they aren't becoming a monopoly themselves. And unfortunately, the federal government doesn't think it needs it, but I think that as long as we get enough people in Congress, and as long as us as individuals make our voices heard, we can get to that point where we're going to keep an eye on that government. Current system of taxation. Does anyone here like the IRS? No, I don't like them either. Now, I have been looking into a fair tax. Not the flat tax, which is another different thing. It's the fair tax. The fair tax basically says that it will tax every person who consumes. If you consume a little, you pay a little. If you consume a lot, you pay taxes on a lot. It's just like going to Luby's. It's not a buffet. You go to Luby's. If you get one dish, you pay for one dish. If you get 2 trays worth, 3 trays worth, then you're going to pay for that. And so this would actually open up a whole group of individuals who have been skirting, who have been getting around the system through loopholes in the tax laws. I've worked with individuals as a real estate agent who came to me and wanted to buy things and that they knew they were being tax evading, so they couldn't afford a house. As far as the Fed, I'll jump to the Fed real quick. The problem with the Fed is that the roles are not defined. They should be audited. There are private industries that can take charge in some of the things that the Fed does, especially for the purposes of free market. And that comes with analyzing economic cycles. Private businesses can do that. When the federal government analyzes business cycles, they're in charge of it.